Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
From the book of Psalms, 147, verse 3, I think these words are very fitting after what happened yesterday in Parkland, Florida. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America on a Thursday. And I really would appreciate a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. And good morning, everybody. Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, of course, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and, of course, the big Founders Celebration going on right now at all 7 locations. And also, we want to say thank you to some of our great advertisers, like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, Nick Greenwell and his entire staff at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doug, in just a little bit, I'd appreciate another call back because we're going to discuss the absolute horror of what happened yesterday. So I do appreciate your pledge, and thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. Let's go to the weather forecast right now for this morning, and it's brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Hello, Roger, and the rest of the crew serving you with the rental of the best tools and equipment around to finish any job, construction project, whatever that you have in mind or are in the middle of. And also with the colder wind and temperatures out there, they got all the heaters for you, too. All of this on the Burley Paul Highway, K&R Rental. Number to call, 678-3122. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like some windy conditions for your Thursday. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Mostly cloudy skies, then gradually becoming sunny as we move towards the afternoon. Breezy as well with the west wind. Right around 20 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 35 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 35 for today. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 27. Tomorrow, partly sunny. Wind's going to be dying down. High of 42. Friday night, partly cloudy skies with a high of 32 for Saturday. Partly sunny and 51. And Sunday, maybe some precipitation. About a 30% chance of snow showers in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the low 40s. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And brought to everybody this morning by Roger and the great staff. They open up at 7 in the morning over at K&R Rental. And they're located at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And, of course, right on the Burley Paul Highway. Give them a call at 678-3122. Merv May, let's sell some cattle. Come on in here.
All right. Hey, good set of steer calves. They're here to get $1.31.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, in my opinion. I love to hear that chant. Merv May, Cade Rocky, Lance Udy, the people that work for you at the sale that works for you. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, and the number to call for cattle consignment, sale information, 678-9411. Here's a partial list of the cattle going through the ring today. Kevin Gergen over to Hazelton. Hello, Gergen family, how are you? 150 head of ripping good yearlings are going to be there. Move View Dairy bringing in 50 head of 700 to 800 pound Holstein steers. There you go, boys. Kenny War out of Grouse Creek. Hello, Kenny. 35 head of yearlings coming in. Butcher cows from Antelope Hills Dairy and Acme Dairy. 10:30 starting time for the great big sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. At, of course, 10:30 this morning, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and I selling $35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
I'll tell you what, I don't mind that price at all. Hey, I want to quickly remind everybody that the Lincoln Day Banquet is going to be at the Burley Inn this year. Yeah, it's going to be at the Burley Inn, and it's going to be on Saturday, February 24th, starting with the meet and greet at 12 noon. Lunch at 1. They're going to have an auction. They're expecting a lot of the politicals there, and tickets are $25 at the door. So please don't forget this Saturday, February 24th at high noon at the Burley Inn, the Lincoln Day Banquet. There you go. Ramsey Heating and Electric, we appreciate their being with us for a long time right here on this program, and they are such great people. They've been in business almost 60 years. Wow. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. We'll be talking to Rita later on this morning. And the number to call, 678-0459. They open at 7:30 till 5 Monday through Friday, and that's where they provide warm winters and cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Real quick, too, next week on Thursday, we will be at Denny's Restaurant. And that's, of course, for our monthly lunch bunch. And next Thursday will be our Valentine lunch bunch at 611 North Overland in Burley. Don't forget to be there. Oh, my goodness, great food, wonderful people serving you, a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie. We urge you to come on in. But you can stop into Denny's anytime, all the time at 611 North Overland in Burley, and also another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, it's true, they are America's Diner. This is not easy for me this morning because I'm really, really upset. As a father and a grandfather, a husband, and growing up in a time that we didn't even think about the problems they're having today, it's really, really a traumatic time right now. For those, and I want to start this off quickly, for those that mock praying, and unfortunately there are those that live here in this area, you know who you are. You go ahead and you can mock me all you want. At the end of the program, I am going to have a prayer for the families and for the injured and for the community of Parkland, Florida. I prayed last night and I prayed again this morning for those families. And I just absolutely can't even begin to fathom the anguish and suffering that is going to last a long, long time, not only in that area, but for our entire country. 17 are dead this morning. 15, that is the number they're passing out right now, are injured. There may be more because of a sick psycho killer. 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz. It can happen anywhere. And if you think you're immune, I know that I've talked to people that think, well, gee, that's in the more larger populated areas. Oh, gee, that's like at a bigger high school. No. It can happen anywhere. This man, 19 years of age, had no business being back on that campus whatsoever. He had been expelled from school numerous times because of disciplinary problems. And he had many, many warning signs. And I'm sitting here going, wow, if all of these signs were out there, why didn't somebody stop him, talk to him, get him help and assistance, and possibly curb what happened? And the next big question I've got is, how did he get in and on the campus in the first place? They told him not to ever come back with a backpack. And quite frankly, not to even come back at all, he should have been told. And there should have been, I think, tighter security at the doors. I mean, there's a bunch of things in hindsight. What are your thoughts about this? What do we do now? And I will say this. I brag about my audience because I think they're the best audience of any talk show. And I know you may have some great ideas. I'd love to hear them. There is, and this is my feeling, you don't agree, you can still call. I think there's so much evil, I'll say it again, evil in the world right now. I'm not sure that we can ever put this situation to a better point. I'm not sure. When I say that, I'm jumping ahead here a little bit in my schematic that I wanted to talk about this morning. But when you look at the lack of respect for human life, and you look at what these younger people are exposed to with these absolutely heinous video games showing death, mayhem, and destruction, i.e. Grand Theft Auto and all that, garbage. Garbage. And I would say this to families and parents. You had better take care of the situation in your home now. There shouldn't be this kind of garbage in your home. You are the parent. Your children are the children. You're the boss. And you need to say no. There are numerous things that are out there that are so graphic, and the kids are becoming so desensitized. This is going to happen again. Caller, I urge your indulgence. I was talking for about 5 minutes there, and I've got to pay some bills. Do not go away. I will be right with you, I promise. I want to urge everybody to remember Pomerell Place, a place for senior living. These people at Pomerell Place, they really care. And living at home is certainly possible for some seniors, but it can also be very dangerous. With the loneliness, the safety hazards, poor nutrition, missed medication. Well, Pomerell Place is a place for senior living that offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence, both safely and comfortably. And I urge you to call them today. 677-8212. Pomerell Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. And real fast also, I want to say thank you to some people that we started on the program, I think about 2 months ago. And I really appreciate their business, and I think they really are good at their business, and that's Dino's Septic Service in Rupert. We used them, and they were absolutely phenomenal with fast, fair, friendly service, septic tanks pumped, backhoe service, water and sewer lines installed, and liquid waste removal. All you need to do is just give them a call. That's all you got to do is call 436-6526 or in Burley 678-1638. As I said, fast, fair, friendly service with that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. You call them today. Caller, I appreciate your patience. Go ahead, please.
No problem. From what I read last night and everything, and been listening to a little bit of late night talk show. It was on about 10 o'clock somewhere. I think it was Michael Savage. I'm not sure who it was. But he said what happened with this kid, this punk, this 19-year-old, was that he, I guess, was already being put through the processes and everything and what have you. And then our old buddies with the Florida ACLU decided to step in because they figured he was getting his rights stepped all over on. And so they went ahead and done their dirty work and got him off the hook.
I will say this to you, sir, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. On this program, I do not speculate, and I don't take other talk show hosts' speculative type remarks. Now, that being said, what you said might be all very true. I personally am going to look into this over the weekend, and I'm going to find out all the different facts. I know people in that area. I'm going to call them. I'm going to get all the facts as they really are. If this took place, and it happened that way with the ACLU, basically pulling this kid away from help and assistance that he needed mentally, I'm going to put the hammer down on him. But right now, it's speculative, and I will say this, some of the things that Michael Savage has on his program, be a little wary of until they're proven.
Well, he can get pretty dramatic. There's no doubt about that.
But I will say this, it's got to stop. And I don't know what the answers are. I don't know if you know what the answers would be or should be. But this can't happen again. Schools are for kids to learn and thrive and grow and learn what they can do with their talents God gave them for the rest of their life. It's not a shooting gallery.
Well, I'm just scared to death for him, Jeb.
I am too. And I thank you for your call. Thank you very much. You broke the ice this morning. I appreciate it. God bless. Nice man right there. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Tell me, honestly, answer this question. Do you think there's respect for life like there used to be? Do you think, honestly, there's a respect for life? We've got the left in this country that wants to okay and put a stamp of approval on abortions. We've got the left in this country that really doesn't care if a hemlock society starts and is promoted for seniors to kind of, just die, get out of the way, make room for somebody that's able-bodied and younger. Come on, get out of the road. And now the kids have no respect for life. With this trash, and I welcome somebody to call and tell me that those absolutely heinous video games like Grand Theft Auto and some of these others have any merit whatsoever. They are trash. 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 And should be treated as such. There is no value. There is absolutely no merit to playing a game that desensitizes people's minds about killing and raping and beating and stealing, and all of that is all right to get ahead in this world. I just think every shelf in a store that is filled with that trash should be emptied. These kids today, and again, you probably don't agree with some of my harsh Germanistic attitudes, but I don't think that there is a respect that there should be today. And I don't think that we can restore that respect overnight. Yes, I demanded to my kids to say yes, sir, and no, ma'am, and please, and thank you, and respect for each other. And go to church. And I demanded responsibility and a work ethic. What's wrong with that? I want to hear from you. This is really, really important stuff because, like I said at the onset, this could happen anywhere. Don't sit back and say, I don't want to talk about that this morning. What if it was your child or your nephew or niece in Florida? I bet you'd want to talk about it then. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with Nick Greenwell and his very efficient staff serving you at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call to make an appointment and let them help you, whether you've had surgery recently or a bad accident and you're recouping from that accident, let them help you get back to being you. Absolutely call for an appointment, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with that hydrotherapy pool and all the best of people at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. You know, a situation that is so absolutely important this morning for all of America to be talking about and trying to come up with answers as to how to stop this. Right off the bat yesterday, and I found it very distasteful, there were certain senators, and then, of course, Nancy Pelosi on the left, calling almost within an hour and 10 minutes from this horrendous occasion, we need gun control. We need this. We got to get this through. We need more gun control. We got to take all the guns away. I will say this. Maybe what they needed was an increase in security at the doors of any and all schools with people that are really trained to ask questions and thwart problems, and with something in the holster that will bring the bad people down. I honestly feel that the reason that absolute nuts like this kid, this Nicholas Cruz, why they choose schools is because they are soft targets and they know that they're not going to get shot back at. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I have a couple of thoughts. There's a lot of them. There's a movement away from churches, and people say they believe in God, but they worship Him in their own way. But that's not like being a part of a community, listening to the Word, continuing to know what you should and shouldn't do, and praying. You're right. It's just we need that. I don't want to say. We need that limitation telling us, and we don't want limitations anymore.
Okay.
We don't want to be part of groups. We don't really want to go out there and serve the community like we used to.
Well,
we work all the time, and I'm not so sure that our kids are being watched as closely as they did when somebody was at home.
Okay, now wait a minute, Linda.
I know our economy has done that.
Linda, just a minute. Let me jump in here.
You bet.
Now, I'm assuming, and this is a really kind of a bad, awkward position to put me in, I'm assuming that you and I are fairly close to the same age. Fairly close.
We are.
Okay.
I'm slightly older than you are by less than a year.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, but we're both up there. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we are.
But let's look.
Things differently.
All right, but let's look back 60 years, okay?
Yes.
My mom and dad, my dad had 2 jobs, and my mother worked a full-time secretarial job.
Wow.
Now, I will say this. I don't think anyone could have had a better home life with more caring parents, and they devoted the time to be there, and we had suppers together, we had breakfast together, we did things together. I am not going to use what today is as a crutch for today's parents and say that, oh, they're so busy, they can't do this. No, they're no busier. They are no busier than my mom and dad, and I don't like that as an excuse.
Well, what I'm saying is that, no, you and I, my parents both worked part of my childhood too, but they cared, and we did have dinner together. What I'm saying is I'm thinking we're so into work, are we really watching our kids? Not all of us. There are some awesome folks out there. Are we really watching our kids grow up the way we used to?
Well, that part is very true, and I'd stand right there next to you.
Yeah.
I'd stand right next to you, but I will say this, that there are, and if people are offended by this, then I suggest they go put on a Barry Manilow record, because I'm not going to back up. There are parents that do not spend the time, take the time, or really sit down and be with their kids, and there are also parents that have never learned how to say one simple 2-letter word, no.
That's right. There are those, and so that's part of it. That is a part of it. But there are some very awesome parents out there that when they are home, they are home.
Well, yeah, but see, that's not the problem, though. We're talking about a kid that fell through the cracks, a kid that had mental problems, a kid that did grow up in a broken or no home, and the warning signs were out there, and people kind of poo-pooed it along and everything. That's the problem. It's not the good parents. It's not the good families. It's not the parents that say no. It's the ones that aren't caring enough to say no.
That's right. This kid had some real problems. Another thing, on the video games, like you were saying, if they die, they come back again. The word is respawn. I just learned it the other day. And that, it desensitizes you to death. As you said, the games can be part of it. I agree. Plus, what about the shootings that have gone before? Don't they leave our people thinking that is it's not a right thing to do, but don't they leave people thinking, well, somebody else did it, that's what I'll do?
Yeah, and right there,
like a copycat crime?
That is exactly what I had written here for my next point to bring up this morning. No, I'm serious. I am very, very worried that there's going to be a copycat attitude on this thing, and everybody, I don't care if it's Minico, I don't care if it's Twin Falls, I don't care if it's Boise, Pendleton, Los Angeles, it can happen anywhere. Awareness has to be at key right now.
Yeah, and why should we have to lock down our schools? Why should we have to have security at the doors?
Yeah, but wait a minute, though, Linda.
We didn't used to, but now things have changed so badly.
That's exactly right. That's my point. Are people going to be archaic enough to say, well, we didn't do it before, we can't do it now? Look, we've got evil in our society, and there are those that hate that word evil. They don't even think it exists. Yes, evil exists, and it's getting worse every day. And the way to thwart evil is to get it, cut it out, and not let it rise again.
Yeah. I see things now that I never thought I would ever see.
Me too. And I don't want to see what I saw yesterday again. Linda, thank you. And I really can't tell you how much I appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Calls are welcome. And, again, I tell you folks, you got to speak out on these issues. I hope and I pray, and a lady the other day called me on my cell phone and she said, you kind of chew on the ministers a little bit. Yes, I do. And I don't apologize. Because I think from the pulpit they've got to be much more demanding about what is good, what is bad, and what is evil. They've got to talk about this. Every pastor should change his sermon for this Sunday, and he should talk about the evil that's going on in the world, what happened in Florida, and how we can all be more cognizant of it and help prevent it. And none of this fuzzy, warm feeling stuff, oh, thank you for being here and everything, let's pray. Yes, we all need to pray, but we need to have leadership that's going to help teach people that there is evil in the world, more so today than ever before, and we've got to stop it. How many of you, and I'd like somebody to tell me, how many of you are going to go to church on Sunday and you'll probably listen to a fuzzy, warm sermon and they really won't address the problems of what's happening in our world, our country, our communities today? And they should. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, along with 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and also up in Nampa. 3 great locations serving you with all the great equipment rentals and retail equipment sales. Later on this morning, we're going to have Juan from the location at Burley. Good guy, really good guy. And they've got all the Bobcats, all shapes and sizes. Bobcat excavators, they've got all the Doosan equipment. Oh my, for getting things done, they're the folks. You sure stop in there today. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa, the best of sales, service, and parts at Barry Equipment and Rental. You see, like right now, that phone line should not be open. You should be calling in and saying, well, I think maybe we should try this. I think maybe we should be trying that. Well, we need ideas, and we need to tell our legislators those ideas, and we need to tell them what we think should be done, not 6 months from now, not in a joint meeting, maybe in April, now. Absolutely now. What do we do to stop this? Answer it. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, hi. I've called in once before here. I've been thinking a lot about this last night, what we could do to stop these kinds of shootings, and I think the only bipartisan solution is just higher security at schools. You know, and these could include ID badges, man traps, metal detectors. I just don't think that any sort of law restricting guns is going to do anything.
Right.
Funding can come from a combination of federal, state, private funding. I would even support a tax on guns to help fund, additional security, but that's it'll be like some other tax.
Wait a minute. I wanted to ask you something, and this is very rude of me to ask you on the air, but how old are you?
36.
All right. Now, do you have children in school?
I do.
Okay, you're a prime parent to talk to. What were your thoughts as a parent about what took place yesterday in Florida? What kind of trepidations did you think about?
What kind of, excuse, say that again?
The trepidations, the worries, the perils were you thinking about for your children?
Well, I talked to my children last night when they came home after this, and I asked them, what if it was them? What if it was one of their brothers, or one of their friends, and I do worry. I worry that this could be them.
Yeah.
It could happen here. And I don't think it's video games, because just about every child in America these days has an Xbox or a PlayStation. My children have video games. So I don't think it's video games or what's causing this. I think a lot of it has to do with social media, bullying on the internet, things of these nature. I think that's where a lot of this sort of these problems are coming from. Of course, it could be the type of medication kids are on, but I think ultimately the only thing we can do is increase security at schools.
No, I want to jump in here.
On anybody's rights or gun rights or anything like that. It's the only thing that's going to really. Now, it doesn't stop shootings outside of school.
That's right.
But it would be better to protect our children in the school.
Let me ask you, I think that you've laid out a very good proposal, and I compliment you for your thoughts. You've really got them put together. But let me ask you this quickly. There were those yesterday on the left, some of the senators, some of the congressmen said, oh, no, we can't have armed guards at schools. Why, that turns it into a prison camp attitude. How would you respond to those people saying that?
Well, I would respond thinking that any other building you go into has these sorts of armed guards. I mean, it's not a prison camp. It's just safety.
Yes.
You don't really find too many shootings at a courthouse or something where you have to go through the same sort of, or at airports. People go through the security all the time. It's not a police state at all. It's not about sticking guys with M16s at every door. What we need is just good security at the door, like any factory around here does, like the airports do. I just think that's just the way we have to live these days. I just think too many people, I think the schools have politicized our children. We've got teachers who are having mock-up elections and making our parents' problems their problems. And we've got kids debating, and it's just a bad environment.
Sir, I wish that you would have called a long time ago, because you are a real asset to our conversation this morning. I want to say thank you very much to you, and God's blessings. Thanks for calling in.
Well, God bless you, too. I appreciate your show.
Thank you very much. A very nice man right there that you can tell he's put a lot of thought into this. I, too, have a tendency to agree with him. When I go into the courthouse, they check everything that's in my pockets, etc. When I board an airplane, again, tighter security measures. Why should there be any less for our kids? And in response to some of these politicals that say, oh, well, that's like turning them into armed camps. Wait a minute. Maybe that's what it's going to take. And I think it was that gentleman, or maybe it was Linda a moment ago, that said something about that they'd support more money in a tax-type situation. I would, too. I don't have any kids in school directly. My grandchildren are in school. I want them safe every day. I don't want them to go through what happened here. I don't care if it's a school the size of maybe 200 students or maybe it's a school the size of 2,500. Each and every one of those students should be safe. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, I'll be the first to admit that when I was growing up, I got my butt beat on a regular basis and deserved every one of them. But what hurt me worse would be when my dad would say, boy, I'm sure disappointed in you. Until the day they died, I respected my mother and father. I think what's missing is discipline in the homes. These kids have no respect for anything anymore.
I can't argue with you at all. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you're of German descent or not, but I am, and I know that I was raised in a real tough, rigid home, and there was no sparing of the rod whatsoever. And the Dr. Spockish types today, and Wheels, you've got to cut the feedback down on these calls. Wheels, please. The Dr. Spockish types today that are saying, oh, we can't do that, we can't spank little Johnny or Susie, to me, that is total bunk. There is a place. It's called their big fanny. And if it needs warming on occasion for doing something wrong, so be it. They won't do it again.
Exactly. And also with security in the schools, I think that boils down to 4 words, and that's better safe than sorry. It is time we had some armed people there to protect our children.
Absolutely. And
let the children know it's because we care about them we want this.
I honestly think in the case of this kid that had been, he's 19 years old, and he was told not to come back in the school. They knew who he was, and how he got in and everything else still bothers me. We're going to find out over the next couple of days. But with an armed security guard and this kid's trying to get in the school, I'm telling you, the confrontation should have taken place right at the front door and not in the hallways.
Exactly. Thanks.
Thank you. God bless you. Appreciate it. Caller, quickly, I've got to go to a weather forecast. You're on. Go ahead.
Why don't you do your weather forecast now, Holt?
Well, okay. Now that you're the quarterback of the whole thing, I appreciate that. No, I thank you for that. We're going to do the weather real quick, and it's sponsored by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. And the number to call, both Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell for a hearing screening, 312-0957. They really care about your hearing health, and they want to help you, and they can, at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like some windy conditions for your Thursday. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Mostly cloudy skies, then gradually becoming sunny as we move towards the afternoon. Breezy as well with the west wind. Right around 20 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 35 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 35 for today. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 27. Tomorrow, partly sunny. Wind's going to be dying down. High of 42. Friday night, partly cloudy skies with a high of 32 for Saturday. Partly sunny and 51. And Sunday, maybe some precipitation. About a 30% chance of snow showers in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the low 40s. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And brought to you again by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Call for an appointment today, 312-0957. Doug, I am sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. You and I get long-winded, and I knew that you'd be way past your time, so. Anyway, this shooting in Florida is tragic. It's terrible. But the left, I am so upset where they're calling it an automatic weapon, an assault weapon.
Yeah.
What is assault a noun, or is it a description of an action?
Any weapon is basically an assault weapon when used to harm, kill, and maim mankind.
Fact. Even a golf club can be an assault golf club.
That's right.
You assault somebody with it.
That's right.
So it just burns when they're educated and they're up there making laws and they do not know the proper use of words.
You know, let me ask you something, and I want to make sure that everybody gets a voice on this. The phone line should be jam full this morning because people should show that they care about this issue. But if you made this afternoon, you, Doug, sat down and made a list of 10 laws that are going to be absolutely poignant towards gun control or stopping this situation that happened in Florida, etc. What good, and I don't mean to sound trite when I say this, but what good are those laws going to do when the bad guy has the want and the will to commit the bad crime?
Well, you show me a criminal that obeys laws, and then we could make up the laws that would stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it in a nutshell. When has a criminal obeyed the laws? The definition of a criminal is someone who breaks laws.
Well, that's the whole point I'm getting at. I mean, you can sit there and you can act like Solomon sitting on a great big throne, and you can make all the laws you want to, but if bad people want to commit a bad deed, what good is all that writing of the law going to do?
Exactly. Nothing. Nothing. My thinking is all of these mass shootings, and it's 99.9% of them, have happened in a gun-free zone.
I know it. And this is what just irritates me. I'm going to sound very calloused when I say this, but I don't care. I would have much rather turned on the news. And if this offends someone, you don't want to hear it, or if you got small kids in the room, let them in the other room. I'll wait a moment. There. If this offends somebody when I say this, so be it. I would have much rather turned on the news yesterday and seen a body laying on the steps of a so-called perpetrator than I wanted to see all those wonderful children laying in classrooms.
Well, the death of one evil person compared to the death of 17 innocent people, I mean, that's an easy decision.
Absolutely. And you know, the bad part of this is, and I know that judiciously they're going to be so careful that all of his rights are taken care of and he's lawyered up and that they're going to go through, well, he didn't have this and he did have this, and I know it's going to be an elongated period of time. I don't care about this kid. I honestly do not care about this kid at all. He's a murderer. I have no use for the man. Nothing. My thoughts and my prayers are with the family of that football coach that jumped into the line of fire to shield some of the other students. That's where my prayers go. Exactly.
Now, put this scenario in effect. Had they allowed teachers and student body to carry in this school, and that football coach was one of them that was allowed to carry a concealed weapon in school to defend the kids, the outcome would have been a whole lot different.
I think so.
He might have got shot, he might have got killed, but he had the good chance of taking out the killer and stopping the mayhem, right?
Yeah, I think we're looking at a speculative situation. We're speculating, but honestly, I think that there has to be a deterrent. There has to be a thwarting of the problem, and there is not right now.
Okay, you take all the law. I'm going to hurry up so the next caller can get in. But you take all government buildings, even the Senate, the Congress, the White House, everything has armed guards around it to protect the people inside. Okay, you take the schools, they say no guns. When I was growing up, every pickup in the parking lot had guns in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
We never had a mass shooting. One was because we were raised to respect other people. We were raised in a godly home where we knew right, we knew wrong. But today, they're not being raised in a godly home. They're being raised on the internet, and there's a lot of garbage out there that's bad.
We are raising our kids today, and I'll say it again, in an evil environment. Doug, I got to run. Thank you.
You betcha. Hey, God bless. And everybody, let's do what we can for our seniors.
Amen. Thank you. God bless. Hey, a big President's Day sale at Redder Showcase. It's going on now through Monday, next Monday, the 19th, President's Day. Oh, my goodness, you better get over there at 2611 Overland in Burley. They've got all the Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, and KitchenAids on sale at prices that are not going to knock your socks off. And they've got a biggest bedding department in the Minicash area, and they've got all the great all the great mattresses. About to choke to death there for a minute. And up to 18 months, same as cash on approved credit. Get in there now. Big President's Day sale at Redder Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. Wheels, I'm sorry. I did not know if you sounded the cow or not. Is there another call waiting?
There is. Bob's on the phone.
I am so sorry. Thank you. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Zeb, I missed part of your program, and I haven't watched the news. Are there some people at that school that knew about this fellow's situation and his things that thought he was doing wrong or had done wrong?
Yeah, he had...
If there is, these people need to be held accountable.
Well, I agree.
Guards or security, they need to remove these people off of the school grounds.
Yeah. You know, I don't know how he got on the school campus. He had been warned, according to the news reports of yesterday, never to come back on the campus again or try to come in the school with a backpack on. So they were wary and very concerned about him. And I am like you, Bob. This is a very serious situation, but it should have been thwarted somehow before, because there were a lot of reports. This kid was really off on a limb someplace, and people ignored the warning signs.
Well, I think those people need to be held accountable.
I do too, but Bob, honestly, you and I have talked many times. It's now after the fact. We've got to look to the future right now on the protection of all kids everywhere, every school, and make sure that things are tightened up. I personally would like to see a armed guard at the door. I want to see an armed guard that darn sure knows how to pull something out of a holster and use it to stop bad people. What are your thoughts, quickly?
Exactly, but they need to have that situation, but if they let them get part way in or part way on the campus and then part way in the building, what in the hell are they going to do?
I agree. This is a situation that has to be looked at, and I don't think that laws, per se, are going to stop a problem of a bad person committing an evil deed.
I don't think gun control is going to solve the problem. Not even if Pelosi thinks so.
Well,
thank you, Zever. Have a good day.
All right, Bob.
To you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Bob. Thank you. Yeah, this is a situation that now in past tense, it's easy to look over your shoulder and say, well, we should have done that, should have done that. Well, then let's do it. Let's get it done. Let's make sure that we do something now to stop the evil. I mean, right here in Murtaugh, and again, I couldn't care less if somebody's offended by me saying this, but if it takes a security guard that knows, maybe a former Green Beret or something, that knows how to handle himself in really, really tight, dangerous situations, and they go to the funding or they go to the community for funding for that person, I will be more than glad to kick in more than my fair share. Mark my words, I will. Because we've got to do something. These are our kids. And 17 are dead this morning. Many more injured, and it didn't have to happen. I want to say thank you to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I'll be there in a minute. All 7 locations serving you for the big Founders Celebration in honor of Mr. Les Schwab. What a tremendous man he was. And what a great business dynasty did he build. Over 475 locations all throughout the West, and 7 great ones right here in Magic Valley. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best of tires, the best of brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. They do the right thing because it matters. At your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, you stop in and see them today. Caller, quickly, I've got 1 minute left.
Okay, good morning, Zeb. There are thousands and thousands of combat veterans and retired police officers that would volunteer their time to be in these schools. The first thing that they need to do is they need to put solenoid-activated switches on all of the doors to lock them, and have a switch with a battery backup system in case the power goes out in the office.
I agree.
And monitors on the doors so that if there is a fire alarm, all I have to do is hit a switch and all the doors are unlocked.
Mike, is this Mike? Mike, wait a minute.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Mike, I'm out of time. You called a little bit too late in the hour, but I want to hear more from you, and we're going to carry this conversation on again Monday, and I'm going to devote the first full hour to it. Call me then so we can share more. I've got to run to the news.
Okay, buddy.
All right, thank you. I hate to cut him short. I wanted the ideas. I think he's got some great ideas. But right now we're going to go to the news from CBS. I'll be back in 7 minutes. And welcome back. Pardon me, I got a little frog in my throat this morning. I apologize for that. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the very best of tires and brake service. The list goes on and on. You stop in and see them today. And along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. We're going to have our next guest on the phone momentarily. I want to remind you again, big President's Day sale going on right now, up to 18 months, same as cash at Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. Ooh, all the sectionals. Whoa, all the love seats and the recliners and the appliances. Oh, my goodness. And in the Sleep Center, all the great buys on mattresses. Big, big, big President's Day sale going on right now at Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. And I want to remind you, too, about our dear friend Joel Heward, his family and his staff at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. I so many times tell you about Hanson Mortuary and how kind and how generous and how giving and caring they are with Joel Heward, and they always treat all the families, all the folks with the highest ethical levels of standards with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to call. We all should get the pre-planning of information on funerals and save our families a lot of the worry and the hassle. Please call them today at 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward. And Joel also serving you at Morris & Payne on East Main in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone line. A lovely lady at the Chamber of Commerce, and that's Kyla. Good morning, Kyla. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you this morning?
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And what's happening at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce?
Let's see. Well, today our leadership class is out and about, and the theme that they'll be, you'll probably see them touring all over Burley and Rupert and the Minnecasia area, is going to be connecting to health and emergency services. So we're really lucky today. We're going to be getting to go all over the place visiting and just getting people clued into all the wonderful services that we have here and the resources that are available. I think a lot of folks don't realize that we do have urgent care facilities here as well as 2 major hospitals, which is phenomenal for this area. Hopefully we'll get a visit from Lifelight, which is going to be a lot of fun down at the Burley Airport, weather permitting, of course. We got a little bit of a snowstorm yesterday, so we're hoping that will hold off for later today. But anyway, just an exciting class. We're really excited to be going around, and also going to hear about the new Family Health Services Clinic that's coming into Rupert, which I know a lot of folks are very excited about. And we're also very blessed today to have, we have the folks from the BLM Twin Falls District Office here, and they are really kind of enlightening us into terms of how they work and all the things that they do here, because BLM land is a huge part of our area. So it's going to be a big day for us. But I want to tell folks about a few things real quickly, if I could, Zeb, that are happening in and around town. On Friday, it's not Valentine's Day anymore, folks, but I know some of you missed it yesterday, and you're probably in the doghouse. So here's what you're going to do. On Friday, February 16th, Valentine's Day movie and dessert bar happening at the historic Wilson Theater. I think they're showing famous John Wayne movie McClintock.
Oh, boy.
And it's just a great movie. So, I mean, you can't really miss with this one. You're going to have dessert and a great movie. So call the Wilson Theater for tickets. That starts at 6:30 p.m. And then also there's a couple great performances that are coming up, but you want to get your tickets now, and that is Oklahoma will be performed at the King Fine Arts Center starting February 21st. So jump onto their website, King Fine Arts Center, and you can just Google that, and they'll have all the ticket information right there. And then Walking Happy is going to be performed starting March 8th at Howell's Opera House in Oakley. So lots of options to take your sweetheart if you kind of messed up yesterday.
Can you sing the lead song to the play Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
No, can you rear back and go, Oklahoma? Can you do that?
I don't think I should do it, Zeb. We don't want to break anybody's eardrums this morning. We like people listening to your show. I am not a singer. I'll own that. I'll totally own that. I am not a singer.
Well, do people, do you think, really understand and know all the services and things that are available through the Chamber of Commerce?
I'm sure a lot of times they just think, oh, that's right, they have a visitor center. Oh, that's right, they have a gift shop. Oh, I forgot they have free Wi-Fi. I can come in and, get some information. And then also just our events calendar and all the other things that are going on. We're great at really connecting people with the other resources and connections that are here in our neck of the woods. And so if you've got questions or you're like, I don't know who to contact, just please give us a call, 208-679-4793.
Do you have to, as the director, do you have to sit down with your staff and say, okay, gang, kind of like a football huddle, do you have to say, okay, we're looking at almost the 1st of March, and you know what that means? We've got to be geared up and ready to rock and roll for a big tourist time.
Absolutely, yes. No, our plans are underway for that, and we have some major events that we'll be doing. We are moving our Women's Expo that we have always historically done in April, and that will now be the first Saturday. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. You're hearing it first on the Zeb Bell Show. But we are going to be doing it the first Saturday in May, which is May 5th, and we have teamed up with Nature Nursery and Market in Burley, and we're going to be holding the expo out there. So we're going to be doing some really fun things out there. It's going to be fabulous, and we're just excited. We have a lot of folks bringing equipment. It's going to be more centered on Idaho living, and so it will be for both women and men, and it's going to be from 10 to 2 on that Saturday, May 5th.
Oh, my goodness.
Perfect time to go shopping because it's right before Mother's Day. Big hint there, big hint.
And they'll be out amidst all the flora and fauna.
That's exactly right. So, I mean, we couldn't time that one any better to help you guys out. So we're very excited about that. So, yeah, it is all hands on deck right now, just getting ready. And then, of course, Memorial Day weekend, which is at the end of May, usually kicks off our tourist season, and that lasts clear through to Labor Day. So we've got lots more planned with that.
It's really interesting, but I'll bet you have a huge calendar problem, don't you, trying to figure out how you're going to get everything done?
I think we do. I don't know if we have a calendar problem, but we certainly have it looks so far away, like a wedding or something else out there, and then all of a sudden it's right there in front of you.
Absolutely.
So, we're trying to do our best. We have some great committees. I want to thank them, from our golf tournament committee, our expo committee. They just do a wonderful job. They have actually been meeting for almost a year, most of these committees. Like, they take the month off after the event, kind of do a wrap-up, and then they just crank it up and do it all over again. So we're very thankful.
Let me ask you this, and we've known each other now for, 2 years or so?
I've actually known you longer than that. I'm a little hurt now, Zeb. That's okay.
Oh, yeah, but you're right.
On KMVT, 15 or 20 years.
That's right. I forgot about that. But when you look back, let's just say 10 years. Did you have any idea 10 years ago that you might be looking in the crystal ball and be where you are today?
Oh, absolutely not. No. And the reason is because it's really, I got to hand it to, when you get into communications and radio and television, it opens up all sorts of worlds. And I was really blessed to be able to then go into public relations and do some things in the racing industry and work with a lot of chambers of commerce. But if someone would have told me back when you're, just getting out of whatever school or whatever, that this is what you're going to be doing, life is pretty exciting. You just never know which direction it's going to take you in, Zeb. So it's, it's fun. It's really great.
And there is a great storyline for all the kids in every school that are sophomores, juniors, seniors, have no clue what they want to do. Don't worry about it. Just put forth your best foot forward, study as hard as you can, and doors will open for you.
That's absolutely right. I'm a strong believer in that. And honestly, in this day and age, it's pretty rare. It's really rare that you find someone that I started in this and 30 years later this is exactly the same thing they're doing.
Yeah.
That's pretty lucky, honestly. I think everybody knows with technology and things that are out there, you've got to continue your education, continue to learn, even on the job. Put your best foot forward and then see what doors open up, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, give us the 975 ways they can get a hold of the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, the telephone is usually the best way, 208-679-4793. If we don't answer, it's because sometimes our phone lines do get really busy, so please leave a message and we will call you back. And then also MinneCashiChamber.com.
All right.
Or jump on our Facebook.
Kyla, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Okay. Thank you so much, Deb. Have a great day.
You bet. Kyla over at the Chamber of Commerce, Minnecashi Chamber of Commerce, thank you very much. Right now, I want to remind you about the great big Minidoka County Fairgrounds is going to host the Spring Consignment Sale on March 24th, starting at 10 a.m. Rogge Auction Company is going to take down the gavel and go, bang, bang, here we go, let's sell this. And they're going to have farm equipment, four-wheelers, panels, tractors, livestock, all kinds of things. No household goods or tires. No. Call Ron Rogge at 431-6187 or Cade at 431-0074 or Jed at 670-4042. They are managing the big spring consignment sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds on March 24th. Rogge Auction Company, you call them today. Also want to remind you, too, about our dear friends that are sponsoring our Idaho Legislative Update. And I mean this. I'm very, very thankful to Clay Handy and the folks at Handy Truck Lines. They are so community-oriented and so helpful, and they are very proud of the good men in our area that continually go up to the legislative session and work for us. Handy Truck Lines, providing transportation services to Idaho and the surrounding states with terminals in Pocatello, Meridian, and Salt Lake City, Utah, and they're celebrating their 90th year in operation. Thank you, Clay Handy. Thank you, Handy Truck Lines, for sponsoring the Idaho Legislative Update on Tuesdays at 9:30. Thank you very much. Nice people, and I mean that. By the way, quickly, we're going to go right now to a great segment. I am so honored to have these folks on my program, and I'm talking about the Cassia Regional Hospital. We're going to meet people from various careers and duties at Cassia Regional. Let's take a listen and find out what's happening today.
People caring about you and your health care in the most professional and progressive ways. That's Cassia Regional Hospital, located at 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. In a moment, we'll introduce you to just one of the many dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. Today's program, right after this. Cassia Regional Hospital provides you and your family excellent health care answers and services. They're right here, close to home. That's right. Cassia Regional Hospital offers the latest technological advances in medicine, like their new oncology programs and telehealth, which uses electronic information and telecommunications to promote long-distance patient and clinical health care. Your friends, your neighbors. Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care, close to home.
On the program with me today, Michelle Pond-Bell, nurse administrator at Cassia Regional Hospital, and we're going to talk about the Cassia Regional Hospital Oncology Program. Good morning, Michelle. Tell us a little bit about the oncology program, what it means to the public, and what it does for the people of Magic Valley.
Good morning, Zeb. Thank you for inviting me to be on your program today. We have started up our oncology program here at Cassia Regional Hospital to support our patients and their families in our local communities. With our program, we are able to provide chemotherapy and oncology services to the patients in the area, which allows them the opportunity to stay at home and have their care here in the local community. So we're very excited about the program.
Well, it sounds really innovative. What about all the care that's necessary for the various forms of cancer and the treatment, et cetera? Can all of that be administered right there at Cassia Regional?
Our focus with oncology services is with the IV therapy and the providing the chemotherapy here locally in the community. If it's extensive oncology treatment, say radiation, other forms of cancer treatments that way, we don't provide that here, but our focus right now is just on the IV infusion chemotherapy products that we can provide to our patients.
There's so many things, Michelle, that I don't know and understand with innovations in medicine. Well, first of all, tell us about the physicians that are there serving the oncology program, and then also a little bit about telemedicine. I'm really interested in that aspect.
With our program here locally, we don't have an oncologist here on site, but we've had the great opportunity working with Intermountain Healthcare that we have a physician who is oncology certified. He's an expert in the field who interviews all of our patients through tele-oncology services. So we have telehealth, and through that, our patients can stay here locally in the Burley community, be visited with by the physician from actually from Dixie Medical Center in St. George, and ask all the questions that they need to ask, get all the education information that they need, and then he and his team oversee all the treatment that we provide to patients here locally. So it's a great benefit.
This sounds to me, and I'm completely of not very much understanding on this new innovative idea, but it sounds to me like the patients can go to Cassia Regional. They're still visiting with doctors that are helping them with their treatments through the telehealth program and saving money of not having to drive here and there and everywhere.
And that's correct. We see patients that are in different programs, whether it's different oncology programs here in the state of Idaho or from other states, who are following a protocol, say from a program in Utah. With that, we here at Cassia Regional can oversee and follow that protocol here, providing the protocol that the patient's individual oncologist wants them to follow, with oversight by our oncology specialty team out of Intermountain Healthcare. So it's a great resource for patients where they may go to a different oncology center, have a different protocol, but it's overseen by Intermountain and our specialists here. But with that, it allows our patients to stay in the community. They don't have to travel. They don't have to get hotel rooms. The family doesn't have to move. And if you've ever had chemo or any kind of treatments like those, you don't feel very well. It's nice to be able to stay home and go home and recover. And what they're showing is that patients have saved an average of about $400 a month in travel costs just by being able to have their treatment here at Cassia.
Wow, that's almost a combined savings of over $5,000 a year with this service through Cassia Regional Hospital. Tell me a little bit, Michelle, if you would, please, in regards to cancer itself. And are we finding cures? Are we finding the necessary means to treat it so that patients have a more optimistic outlook? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm very positive and hopeful with cancer research that we can find a cure for cancer, because I think everybody, either individually or through someone in your own family, has had an experience with cancer. I know personally in my own family, I have a family member who is still undergoing ongoing cancer treatments for reoccurrences of cancer. I'm hopeful, and my family member's goal is to outlive cancer until they can find a cure. I think in our environment these days, we are seeing more and more people that have cancers that have never had a family history of cancer, and it's becoming more and more predominant. People need to be very diligent about their health screenings, their health care, making sure that everything's looking good to prevent, because many of the cancers are preventable, but it's through good health screenings and good health care by their local physicians to catch those so that we can intervene in a timely manner and prevent, a dramatic outcome.
Michelle Pond-Bell, nurse administrator at Cassia Regional Hospital, and I can tell by the sound of your voice that you're a very proud employee of a very progressive hospital.
I love where I work. Here at Cassia Regional, we are a part of Intermountain Healthcare, and we have nothing but great support from great teams of specialists, whether it's tele-oncology, tele-stroke, tele-wound, etc. I think with that, the thing I'm most proud of is it allows patients and their families to have their care by their local physicians in their own communities and to be able to stay at home and have high-quality care that you'd get in any big city. But I think the care here is much more family and patient-oriented because we see the same people every day that we're taking care of, and we love them, and we want them to get better.
I'm really proud to have this lady on my program this morning. Michelle Pond-Bell, nurse administrator with Cassia Regional Hospital in the oncology program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Belle, and I really appreciate your time. And I hope people do their screenings and prevent and don't have an occurrence of cancer. So, and if they do, we're more than willing to see them here and provide care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tune in every Thursday at 9:18 right here on Zeb at the Ranch for more about the people and the healthcare services at your Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home.
Thank you very much. A lovely lady to visit with. I appreciate her being on the program. Hey, don't forget Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Man, they've got all the snowmobiles over there. There's still time to get one and go up in the hills and enjoy. Absolutely. And don't forget, now's the time to get your four-wheelers serviced and ready to go for the spring. Vroom, vroom, and away you go. And they've got all the four-wheelers for sale over there and the side-by-sides and all the accessories. And by the way, going back, they've got a great service department to serve you. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. I know another place where the fun is sold right now, and that, of course, is Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with Jeff Bronson and a great big President's Day sale. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, Zeb. Good morning to you.
I didn't see you at the game last night, but I'm sure you were there.
I was, and I looked for you. I don't know where you were sitting, but it was fun to watch the team win, wasn't it?
Oh, I tell you what, it's hard to think that you could not find me. I'm very visible.
I was busy watching basketball, apparently.
I don't blame you. Hey, listen, tell us about this great big 40% off entire furniture inventory. What's going on over there?
Thank you, Zeb. I appreciate that. President's Day is a fantastic opportunity to refresh merchandise in your home. We have just received a number of huge shipments of merchandise from the winter furniture market in Las Vegas. So, as you say, the 40% off, that actually covers all of our inventory in the store and all of these new shipments that are coming in. And those shipments consist of sofas and love seat sets. We have a huge selection of recliners, dining room sets, occasional tables, mattresses. And in addition to that, we are continuing our sale on the floor covering, where you can actually carpet your entire home for as little as $69 a month.
Wow.
This is a great special, Zeb.
And you've got such a variety and such an inventory. And I go back to the recliners because, man, you got to get in there and try one on. You can't just buy one sight unfit.
Yeah, that's right. And Zeb, we do try to keep the largest selection of recliners in stock in the Valley. We have ladies' chairs, men's chairs, big chairs, small chairs, lift chairs, power chairs, swivel rockers, wall savers, every type of chair that you can imagine we can get here in the store. So, no shortage there.
Okay, now tell everybody the times the doors are going to be well oiled on the hinges so they'll swing open easily at the President's Day sale.
Yeah, our hours here for the President's Day sale is Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then Monday as well, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, you've got your staff. They've got all brand new tennis shoes so they can scurry and run hard all over the store to serve people, right?
That's right. And Zeb, just real quick, I want to share. We do have up to 48 months interest-free for those who are interested in taking advantage of that. And so you can get huge savings. You can get the special terms, get the new merchandise, and that includes every bit of merchandise that's in stock right now as far as our furniture is concerned.
I tell you what, this guy is a lot of fun to have on the air, and the people that work at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More, a lot of fun to work with the big President's Day sale. Thank you, Jeff. God bless you, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zeb. Take care.
All right. Take care. Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Don't you miss that great big President's Day sale. Want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Cameron Siemens Insurance. Oh, my. All your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits. They got it all. They can help you with all of it. Whether it's for you, your family, your business, they're there to serve you. All you need to do is just take the initiative to make a call, make an appointment, and they can help. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Good morning, Rita Ramsey. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you.
Rita, it's hard for me this morning to sound upbeat because of the tragedy and the travesty that took place yesterday. And Wheels, again, you're going to have to run that feedback a little bit. It's real high in my, coming down the line in my headset. But I want to ask you your thoughts about what happened yesterday. Everybody is so quick to say, well, we should have done this. We should have had a law for that. But listen, it happened again. What do we do now?
Well, the biggest problem is we have all kinds of laws, and we don't need Congress to be wasting a bunch of time trying to invent some more that probably won't work. One of the biggest problems that we have is, and it was mentioned earlier on your show, is I think parents are not doing some of the things that need to be done to make sure that their kids are ready to be in society.
I agree.
They don't expect a lot out of them. They don't expect them to be respectful. They don't expect... I could go through a whole list and litany of things that need to be done, but if parents would just be parents, and, everything would go better. And then, we have the media that just keeps, putting this name of the shooter in the face, and that's what the guy wanted. He wanted attention.
Yep.
And if when this happened, if the media totally said, this happened, it's sad, and, talk about some of the things with the victims and that type of thing, but never mention his name or anything about him or how he's infamous because of this, a lot of that would stop happening because they'd go, I could do all that kind of stuff. Nobody's even going to know my name or who I am.
Yeah.
And that may stop it. The other thing is I heard this was off of a Twitter feed. It says, the media won't say the name Redskins, but they keep saying the shooter's name over and over and over and over again. So I think a lot of it is within the media. If they would downplay the individual name and what's happened here and not give him the glory moment of everybody knowing it was him.
Well, and let me interrupt you right there and ask you this. And you and I are on exactly the same page this morning. I find it repulsive. I mentioned the shooter's name once this morning. I will not say it again. But I will say this, everybody in the news media is playing up to his 19-year-old given name and using it and giving him the media glory that he probably sought. Can you name one name of the deceased? No.
No, we haven't heard any of that. And the other thing is that we're not only going to give his name and make him infamous, we're going to make excuses of why he did this.
Yeah, yeah,
and I don't think there are any excuses. I think the number one thing is, and it's been mentioned a number of times, evil is evil, and you can't stop evil sometimes. But to just make them infamous because of what they've done is just wrong.
Well, wait a minute, though. When you say we can't stop evil sometimes, at that juncture, I would jump in and say, okay, but we have to learn how to at least thwart it. And in this case, and many of the callers this morning agreed with me, that we're going to have to develop a security system for our schools that some people will say, oh, well, we can't do that. That's like putting our kids in an armed camp. I'd rather have them be in an armed camp for 7 hours a day and come home safely than have what happened yesterday.
Well, absolutely. And the thing of it is it would cost a ton of money, and it does need to be done. The other thing is if you have armed security guards inside of those buildings, it's no different than was mentioned. You go to the courthouse, you go to any place you're going to get on, transportation, whether it's airplane or train or whatever. I mean, they go through and they search you. Going to ball games even. I went to a ball game at the Coliseum in Phoenix a few years back, and my gosh, you'd have thought I was the bad guy. I mean, they had 2 or 3 sets of security, and they just stand and everything. But that's how they make it safe, is that they watch who's coming and going.
Well, and the people that they hire, if there is going to be a security guard or guard scenario at schools, these people should not be, and please don't anybody be offended, but I'm talking about, you don't want somebody that's 65, 70 years old carrying a gun that might be a one-bullet Barney. You want people that are highly trained and skilled in taking bad people down.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to go with the Navy SEALs myself.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing. And the other thing is that I think, and I think there are some states who are okay, who do this, is that the teachers need to be able to carry guns if they want to, and if they have decided that's what they want to do and they've got the license to do it, they need to have them, and not where kids can get to them or anything else, but all they'd have to do is have the gun with them and have the ammunition someplace else, and something happened and they could get to it really quick. But if those shooters knew that there were armed guards, or there could be anywhere up to 15 or 20 teachers that had guns, they'd probably think twice, because it just makes those kids sitting ducks when they're in an area that is a gun-free zone.
Absolutely.
And they advertise it.
I said earlier on the program, and you were listening, you heard me say this, I think anybody that's a taxpayer, anybody that sends kids to schools or is a grandpa like I am, I would readily send money on a levy or whatever if I knew they were going to have kind of a funneled situation at the doors of the school to where you have to use this entrance and you have to use this exit. That's all there is. And in case of an emergency, other doors will trip open with a kind of a micro switch, if you will. But I would pay for those security guards, and I want them highly trained. They can ask questions. They can possibly see if there's going to be a bad hombre coming in the door, and if so, stop him.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is, if they're going to advertise about the way that whether they've got guns or not, I think they need to say, there are weapons in the school, and let them know. Just like you put a little sign out front that says the such and such security service watches me or is set up with this.
Absolutely.
They go to the one that doesn't have that. They don't take a chance on the one that's saying, hey, we've got security, we can get you on film.
Schools are, and I hate to even use this terminology, but you know it's true, they are soft targets, because these absolute evil people know that somebody shooting back at them is probably not going to happen. This scenario has got to change.
No, that's right. You don't see any of those idiots going into the sheriff's department.
Yeah. Yeah. But you said something earlier that I think I'd really like to elaborate on. I traveled a lot in my other occupation, being an announcer at special events all over the United States. And when I go to the South, let's say Texas, or maybe it would be Georgia, or Louisiana, or Florida, you know, the kids that are raised in the South, they still seem to have that parental guidance in the yes, sir, no, ma'am, thank you, please, respect for each other, more so than at other parts of the United States. And I think the parents and those families down there, I will highlight and say they still seem to be a lot closer, and dad says something and the kids play frog and just say, how high do you want me to jump? That is respect.
Well, it is, and that respect carries over to the institutions where they're going to be learning, whether it's kindergarten or whether it's on up into high school or even to college. And then it takes place out in the workplace. When you get people who are respectful of others and respect other people's rights and they're civil and that type of thing, it just carries over through society. But we're in a situation where I don't have to obey the rules here at school. My mom says I don't have to, and you get all that kind of stuff. And the teachers and the principals, they have no way of dealing with these kids, and the other kids see it happening, so it's kind of like, well, I'll try it too. And if they get away with it, it just keeps, flowering out.
I agree. We have a caller with a question. Caller, quickly. You're on the air. Thank you. And did you understand that dial tone? I did not. Anyway, caller, call back. I'd appreciate it. Rita, what about the fact that I also mentioned last hour, and I firmly believe this, that the video games and the social media and the garbage and the trash that is out there for these kids to be desensitized, I think should absolutely be burned.
Well, it should, and I don't know what the rules for the FCC are anymore, but it used to be on TV you'd never hear any kind of a swear word or cuss words or insinuations of stuff like that was bad, and anymore it's just kind of like it's rampant, it doesn't matter, and I'm not necessarily saying it's like on radio or TV, but because we have so many different avenues for media, it just doesn't stop, and it is just a flurry of it all the time. And you have a lot of people thinking, oh, this is the norm and it's okay. Well, somebody has to say it's not okay, and that's where parents come in.
The other thing that you mentioned briefly, and I talked about it also the first hour, I am very afraid, very worried that because of the media meltdown in giving this guy's name and talking about him continuously, that there may be a copycat. That's a big concern.
Well, I think he was a copycat of a number of ones that have happened over the last several years.
Absolutely.
It kind of started in Columbine, and that was in the late 90s. And so we've gone probably right around 20 years since that happened, and it has stepped up the pace, and we've had a number of them. But the news media just starts making this big thing. I saw an article that said that there have been 18 school shootings since the first of the year. Here we're only 6 weeks into this year. Well, they're starting to say, well, a person committed suicide near a school, so that was a shooting, or that a gun was unintentionally fired, and that was a shooting. And it's kind of like you're just starting to pull all kinds of stuff out, and it's not the thing. And you're just making it look worse and worse and worse, and they're just amplifying it. And this guy is just getting a ton of mileage.
At what point do you say in a conversation about safety for our kids in our schools, and at what point do you allow the possible legislation with Nancy Pelosi and the Dick Durbins and the others on the left for a complete gun control format for the United States? And I say that at that point, we all are going to be captives of a world and a government that can do and may be willing to do whatever they want to take complete power and control of us. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are I don't think we need any more laws. I think we need to enforce the ones that we have, and we need to start taking personal responsibility.
Absolutely. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Quickly, please. Go ahead.
What do you think has changed in the water stuff? 30 years ago, when I went to school, we all had guns in our cars and never had any incidents.
You know, that's really a true statement because, sir, I can honestly remember going to school with a shotgun. My buddies and I used to go like pheasant or duck hunting after school if we weren't involved in the sports programs at that particular time of the year. And things have really changed. Rita, how would you respond to that?
No, that's absolutely right. I think it all has to do with personal responsibility. That's been thrown out the window, and we don't have to hold people accountable anymore for anything. And I think that it really started, and I hate to place blame, but I think it really started with the Clintons when they were just so lawless, and nobody would hold them to accountability, and it just kept going, and it's just got worse and worse and worse, and it's just flowered.
Well, you know, it's really, things have changed, and I know I went to school a long time ago, and they still circle the wagons at night, but the society is such that we don't respect people anymore. We don't respect the rules and regulations. We don't respect what our seniors have told to us, whether it was our parents, our grandparents, or teachers. And I'll tell you, until we restore respect and personal responsibility for your actions, I don't think it's going to change.
Well, it isn't, and
I think you're both right. I think that it's a matter of self-respect and respect for others and personal responsibility, which no one chooses to do anymore.
Absolutely. Sir, thank you for your call. Thank you very much. Rita, go ahead, please.
I've probably shared this with you before, but a number of years ago, and my daughter just turned 39 the other day, so she was a little squirt when this happened. It's been a long time ago. I was taking her to daycare, and she was just kind of having a little fit about it. And when I got there was a different mom that was taking her little child in, and the other little girl says, "I don't want to have a nap. I'm too old. I'm 5. I don't need to do that." And so the mom's going, okay, you don't have to do it. And my little gal said that, and I said, "You will do what the person in charge tells you to do. It's their rules, and if they say you take a nap, you take a nap." And you know what? I've never had any problem with that child having authority over them and being respectful to it. It's because this mom, when that child was really little, said, "Hey, you're going to go by whoever's rules are in charge of you."
Absolutely. Rita, please have patience with me. I've got to get a weather forecast on here, and I'll be right back. And I want to talk to you about immigration reform and how the Democrats seem to have control over the Republican Party right now. So stand by. Our weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs providing accounting services to the Mini-Cache area for well over 50 years. I mean, right now it's tax time. Right now, you got to get all the paperwork together. You got to get everything all figured up. Hey, they can help. They will help. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and more from the professionals that know and they care. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like some windy conditions for your Thursday. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Mostly cloudy skies, then gradually becoming sunny as we move towards the afternoon. Breezy as well with the west wind. Right around 20 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 35 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 35 for today. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 27. Tomorrow, partly sunny. Wind's going to be dying down. High of 42. Friday night, partly cloudy skies with a high of 32 for Saturday. Partly sunny and 51. And Sunday, maybe some precipitation, about a 30% chance of snow showers in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the low 40s. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. And the weather brought to you by our friends at Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. As I told you, they've been serving the Mini-Cache area for well over 50 years. They know they can help. It's tax time. Work with the best. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Rita, I am really, really concerned that the Democrats are going to get their proposal maybe looked at, and the media is going to jump onto it, they already have, of supporting DACA, giving the Dreamers basically a free pathway to citizenship, 1.8 million or more, And then their proposal was to not fund the wall in its entirety or do anything on border security, only in increments over 10 years. If I were Donald Trump right now in the Oval Office, I would say, if you bring that bill to my desk, I'm going to throw it in the trash.
Well, he should, and the thing of it is that his big thing that he campaigned on is that we're going to get control of illegal immigration. We're going to have a wall. And when he came out and said we're going to end this DACA thing, he should have stuck with it and said, we need to come up with something. But all of these other things are in front of the DACA thing, because once we give amnesty, and that's what it is, to those who were involved in the DACA thing, is that it just keeps numbering out, because with the DACA, it's, I got to have my parents, and I got to have my little brothers and sisters, my aunts and uncles and cousins, and my cousins' neighbors, and everything else. And pretty soon you're up to 11 or 12 million. It's not just 700,000 that say, that are part of this. And so if you don't get control of all the rest of it and stick to your guns, the Democrats, and they're the ones who are doing it, and there's a number of Republicans who have got on the bandwagon and saying it's okay. I mean, people like Senator Tom Cotton and some of them are going, well, we really need to do something. It's not their fault. And they've just fallen into that narrative, which is what the Democrats wanted. But it's like Senator Ted Cruz, and there's only about 3 or 4 others that have been saying, wait a minute. We cannot do this.
Yeah.
We can't just give path to citizenship for those that are here. We have to start making some rules. We've got to have something specific, and we've got to enforce the laws that we have.
Well, wait a minute. This is what really teased me off about the Democrats and their crybaby, get the handkerchief out and dab at your eyes attitude, is that, they didn't do anything wrong. Wait just a doggone minute. They're not all rocket scientists. They're not all business entrepreneurs, many of which are gang members and many of which have never even finished high school. They had an opportunity to take the self-responsibility during the Obama administration to sign up and declare their status so that they wouldn't be deported, many of which or most of which did not. They didn't have the attitude of really wanting to do things right the American way. Why in the heck should we turn around and just give them everything?
Well, we shouldn't, but that's what we do, and that's what our legislators do, is just give away everything. And they're being paid by groups. There's a number of Senate and Congress people who are really involved in this heavily, and they're really pushing it. But the thing of it is that they aren't considering Americans first. They are considering anybody but Americans will be ahead of Americans. And it's just not right. And we've got to make sure that our legislators hear about it and hear us say this, so that they are buoyed up a little bit to take the stand and say, you know what, my constituents don't want this.
Well, and you just said something a moment ago. I've got about 2 minutes left that needs to be elaborated on. I've paid my taxes. You've paid your taxes. We are American citizens, and yet we're pushed on the back burner on a lukewarm situation, and these people are put to the forefront like, oh, we got to help them. They've got to become citizens of America. Really? Really? What's the net gain there, Rita?
Well, the only net gain is that welfare gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because many of these are just living off of the things that we've got. They're not being productive citizens. They're sending any of their money back home, and if they're going to be here, they need to be here on their own and making an important part. And if they want to be part of this society, it's like you're going to have to integrate, so you've got to learn English, so we don't have to provide that to you. And you need to check in with us so that we know you're here and you have permission to be here, and everybody else needs to go home.
Well, and I feel a real deep burning hatred for anybody that would block the entrance of Disneyland and then turn around and demand citizenship.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just a two-sided sword, and no matter what you do, it's going to be wrong. But they're not putting Americans first, and the Americans are the ones who are paying for all of it.
Absolutely. Well, Rita, thank you. Another day. Wow, did this time segment ever go fast? But thank you. God bless you, and come back again next Thursday. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Deb.
Thank you. I really enjoy having that lady on my program, Rita Ramsey, and thank you for all that she does. Oh, my. You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to talk about food. Oh, you know what I had yesterday for supper? I had a hot dog. That was it. I'm hungry, and I'm starving to death, and I know some great places to go if you're hungry or starving to death. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, they've got milkshakes. I love the red raspberry and the strawberry. Oh, they're good. Country fried steak sandwich with an order of fries and that special sauce, or a famous Farmer Brown burger. Knock your boots off. Delicious at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main Street in Burley. Let's move over to Taco Bandito right now at 2301 Overland in Burley. Have you been there for one of their breakfast burritos? Woo, baby. Scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, combination of the both, cheese, onions, tomatoes, sauce on a tortilla shell. What a great way to start the day. And go in there anytime. Great menu items at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's not forget burgers, etc. Not one, but two great locations serving you. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. And in 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they got that mushroom burger combo. Only $5.99 after 3 p.m. Wow. It is good. And every Sunday at the Burley location, shrimp dinner, only $5.99. You better run. Don't walk, run into Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. Oh, my goodness. Have you tried that? I had some people call me last week, and they said they went over there and had that chaos salad. It was phenomenal. Chicken breast with bacon, pickles, jalapeno peppers, lettuce, tomato, cucumbers, and all the great veggies. Oh, it's great. And then, of course, the buffalo burgers and a different soup every day. You're going to love the people, and you're going to love the food at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And those are just a few great places to go eat when you're hungry and starving to death. And I am. Oh, boy. Next hour, what have we got? And Wheels, could you turn the feed line down to me just a touch? Just a real small skosh. I'd appreciate it. It's booming all of a sudden. Something changed, and we're really getting hot here on this end. Thank you. Next hour, we've got Cassia County School Days with Sandra Miller, and our business salute is going to be Juan at Berry Equipment. And then at 10:30, we're going to have Liberty McCarter on. Very interesting lady, so don't go away. We've got a lot planned. Zeb at the Ranch, I'll be back in 7. Oh, my. Here we go into our last hour. Zeb at the Ranch on this Thursday, February 15th. I hope everyone in my audience had a pleasant Valentine's Day with your loved ones, and also the celebration of Ash Wednesday. And Sunday, a big day for us here. Deanne is having a birthday Sunday, so very happy birthday to my lovely wife, Deanne, coming up on Sunday. Right now, I also want to remind you about some really good folks at Ark Animal Hospital, and there's so much happening in the world of owning livestock and pets. I know the dog flu is one that has to be very, very well addressed by you, pet owners, and, of course, going over to Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. Number to call, 678-1177. And they're a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all and take care of them all. And don't forget, now's the time also to bring current the pyro vaccines for your dogs. And February is teeth cleaning month at Ark Animal Hospital. 20% off. Make your appointments now by calling 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital with Dr. Bill and the crew. And they have warm hearts for the cold noses. Also, real quick, I am very, very excited about having a lady on our program this morning in a couple of minutes. Sandra Miller will be on the program, and she's the assistant superintendent. I've got a lot of questions for her this morning. And, of course, our school days in Cassia County is brought to you by two wonderful businesses. First of all, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they are celebrating their 15th birthday celebration. That's right. And if you come in and spend $25 and you can get a free book or a stuffed animal, they've got all the children's clothing and all the children's furniture and the games and the toys and the puzzles, everything. Please stop in at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also the other sponsor, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, for your outpatient surgeries, whether it's a life-saving colonoscopy or whether it has to do with cataract surgery or hand surgery. Great doctors serving you and saving you money. Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 677-8888. Along with A Child's World in Burley, bringing you Cassia County School Days. I know I'm just a tad early, about 30 seconds or so early, but I'm going to say a good morning and hope she's there. Sandra Miller, Assistant Superintendent, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Zeb. I am well, thank you.
You know, Sandra, I am great, but I think you may or may not be a little bit upset at me this morning because I'm going to change the course of our conversation, and okay. I want to talk, and I'm going to expect and demand that I get answers regarding what happened in Florida can happen anywhere in the United States. I would like, from your job, your position, and your viewpoint, what can we do to stop this carnage?
Okay. I don't have a problem with you changing the topic. I could never be upset with you, Zeb. So let's talk about that. Oh, what a travesty, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But here in our district, and this is a topic that I am very familiar with, I help with the safety committee in Cassia County. So I go to all of our safety meetings, and we have taken some measures in Cassia County to hopefully be a little proactive so that we don't end up having a situation such as the one in Florida. For example, we have what we call a Safe Schools Alert System, and it is on our webpage, and anyone who sees anything or feels a little bit anxious about something they overheard or that they've seen, they may respond to that Safe Schools Alert System anonymously, and then we have a team, a threat assessment team, that gets every one of those. We come together immediately and we analyze whether or not it is a legitimate threat.
All right, now,
take action.
Sandra, let me interrupt you real quick. Are you talking on a speakerphone?
I am not.
Oh, okay. We're really getting a lot of hollow echo there, and I was really concerned about it because I've had you on before, and I haven't noticed that. Your voice is a very pleasant voice, and it's very, very, it's got a lot of echo to it this morning.
Okay, let me see. I stepped out of a smaller room. Is it better now?
Much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Now, we were talking about the Safe School Alert. Okay, that sounds all well and good to me, and I'm not minimizing it at all. But in expediency, you don't have a lot of time to sit down and say, well, what about so-and-so, what about so-and-so? You've got to make some quick, very first-hand, major decisions to stop and thwart a potential danger.
Exactly. And our schools have taken, many of our schools now have a locking mechanism where visitors have to be buzzed in through a doorbell system, and we are moving to get all of our schools under those same visitor entrance, procedures. We are working at doing that. However, in this particular case in Florida, as I understand it, it was before school. Lots of kids outside. That's where it started, and then, of course, the young man entered the building, as I understand. and continued with his rampaging there. So we do have lockdown measures that we do practice. Most of our schools practice one a month lockdown as well as a fire drill. We do, you're right, expediency is very important in these kinds of situations, and I think our principals, we have safety training that, you make the decision, you do the lockdown. There are, we have an emergency operations plan for the district level, but every building has their own. And we have team members that have been trained in MERT, that's the Medical Emergency Response Team. So we have people on campus. Every campus has 4, 5, 6 people that have a specific job to do immediately when something like this happens. Now, again, we're trying to take the proactive approach. We don't know it happen, but we're not that naive and going to say that it could never happen, because it could.
Now, Sandra, I'm going to jump in occasionally, and I'm not trying to throw kind of a plate of milk at a situation and say that's going to solve it. What I am going to say is, with kind of a situation of locking the doors and then someone going to the door and saying, well, who are you, whatever, isn't that going to put a lot of stress and unneedy danger to the secretary of the school if she's the one that's in charge of that? Wouldn't it be better to have a person at the door that is a armed and very, very knowledgeable person about safety and who the bad guys might be?
Zeb, you are right. If we had the resources to have an armed resource school officer at every campus at the front door, that would provide a huge safety measure. Absolutely. As it is right now, our secretaries don't go to the door. So all of these, our doorbell systems have a camera system. So when you come up, they see you from their office. And so, again, though, they're not trained in identifying the bad guy.
Yeah.
They're not trained in that. Parents, they do know staff members, they do know district personnel. So that is helpful, and so they buzz you in if they know you, if they show identification, that kind of thing. But you're right. I'm not going to dispute the fact that an armed resource officer at every campus would definitely increase safety.
Yeah, but Sandra, and I really appreciate your candor on this. You're such a sweet lady to let me change subjects on you. But they knew this kid too. They knew this kid, and he was a former student, and he was 19 years of age, is 19 years of age. I'm not even going to mention his name because I don't want to give him any more credit or glory. But they knew him too, but that didn't stop access. What I'm saying is, I don't want to have a security guard like Barney Fife with the one bullet in his shirt pocket. I want somebody there that's trained in law enforcement and trained, and I'm going to be very blunt here, in taking somebody down. Our kids and our schools are much too precious to let this happen again.
I agree with you 100%. We in CAJA, again, we work with law enforcement. We have a member sit on our safety team, but you're right. Even though we have a solid working relationship with them, and they come at the drop of a hat. If we call them, they are there immediately, so I have to praise them for that. Here in CAJA County, they help us with all kinds of situations, but they are not on campus. We have one armed resource officer at one of the buildings. So you are right, and they are trained to take people down, and I agree with you. Our children deserve safety, and we are doing everything we possibly can as a school district to ensure that we're taking those measures, but a resource officer would indeed enhance our safety.
We have a caller with a quick question, and caller, I'm short on time, so don't go long. Just give us your quick question, please.
Okay. What the real problem is, Zeb, is that 95% of these shootings are liberal Democrats. What we really need to do is do something about these Democrats.
Well, I don't know what your reference is as to something to do, but we need to get away with the political correctness. That's got to stop. I am not concerned about stepping on somebody's toes. I'm not afraid at all about offending somebody. Our kids are at stake, and teachers are at stake. That football coach that jumped in front of the kids and shielded them with his body, and he died. This has got to stop. And it means taking the bad guys down, or if it means asking questions and interrogating somebody or looking at their past history, I don't care about political correctness.
Well, if we would simply ban Democrats, these things wouldn't happen.
Well, I'm not going to go into a partisan politics on this. I'm not going to say we need to ban that or the other. All I'm saying is we need to have a common sense approach of protecting our kids in school. My God, in school we have to worry about this carnage. And Sandra, chime in on this. It's got to stop. I don't care what measures are used, but we've got to take these bad guys down.
You're right, Zeb. Our students are our top priority, and our staff. We want safety. Safety is huge. And we are pushing for more safety measures in our schools, and we are asking the community to support that.
Okay, but Sandra, wait a minute. Excuse my rudeness. You know, if you put a levy out, and I mentioned this first hour on my program, and I said right here in Murtaugh, if they put out a levy and said we got to fund some really highly qualified security people at our schools, I would be the first one to write a check. How could anybody not want to protect our kids?
Well, that is true, and we do have that on one of ours. We have another resource officer, a second one. We have safety measures on school buses we're asking for. We're asking for help with maybe another nurse who also helps with safety in a different realm. You know, we have children that have health issues, and we need more, especially in Caddo County where we're so spread out, have a large population. So resource officer is on there. We are asking for the public help with that because we take safety very seriously in our district.
Absolutely. Caller, I'm only going to give you a 30-second lead in on your question. Fast. Go ahead, please.
That's all I need. With the training to get a concealed carry permit, why aren't those teachers or someone in that school carrying and stopping instead of after the fact? Thank you.
Very good question. Sandra, your thoughts on that?
Well, that is a tricky one. And teachers probably could carry them. It would have to go through the board, you know, that kind of thing. It's been talked about before, Zeb, and, you know, I'm not going to say I'm on one side or the other, because if it will stop, you know, an intruder and it will save lives, I am for it.
Well, all I'm going to say as we wrap this program up, God bless you, Sandra Miller, for letting me change topics on you this morning. That was rude on my part, but I appreciate.
I'm passionate about safety, so this is right up my alley. So thank you so much. And my last comment, if I may, I want to wish our Oakley girls and our Burley girls good luck at state.
All right, very well said, Sandra. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And in regards to that last caller, I agree with her. You know, this vermin that walked from one floor to the other in the school, shooting and killing and maiming and wounding, and there was nobody there to take him down. There was nobody there with a force that would have made this punk think twice about what he was doing and take him out. I totally agree with the lady that called a moment ago. We've got to do something, folks. And for those out there that have these cotton minds that say, well, we got to have complete gun control, think again. The bad guys are going to have the weapons. In just a moment, we're going to have our business salute, but I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors of Cassia County School Days. That lady, Sandra Miller, Assistant Superintendent, was so nice. She did not know that I was going to throw that at her this morning. And I tell you what, if you know her and you talk to her, tell her how much I appreciate her. She is a very, very nice lady as a representative of Cassia County Schools. Thank you very much. And I also want to thank our sponsors, and they are A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. Thank you for sponsoring School Days in Cassia County. I've got 1 minute. That's all you get, caller. Go ahead real fast.
they said that there was an armed guard there, and a policeman there in the school, an armed officer, and he never did see the shooter. Other news headlines said that the shooter did talk about things like killing animals and guns and so forth. And, maybe we need to start being aware of what people say that doesn't sound right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need a much stronger, visible, and learning center about what these people are going to do, who they are, what they might represent. This whole thing's got to stop. And I'm going to say that we need better protection at the school door. At the school door to stop these people right there. Thank you, Linda. I got another segment. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Right now we're going to take another segment, our business salute for the week, and we're going to be talking to our friends over at Berry Equipment and Rental, and the old football coach is with us this morning, and that's Juan. Hello, Juan. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Well, as you know, this morning's been a long morning talking about that tragedy in Florida. I'm sure you're aware of it, but I want to talk to you on behalf of all the good folks at Berry Equipment and Rental with 3 locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with you and your crew, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli and the crew, and then also up in Nampa. What right now, looking at almost the 1st of March, what's cooking over there at Berry Equipment and Rental?
Well, we have our excavators all ready to go and dig up anything you need from trenches, holes, and then we got skidsers to go ahead and backfill it. So whatever you guys need to do, we're ready for you.
I am afraid that if I started digging a hole and having so much fun that I might never quit and you'd never find me.
Hey, that's okay because we got great financing deals on all of our equipment right now.
What happens, let me ask you this, what happens if somebody comes in and they rent a Bobcat or they get any other piece of equipment and they get home and the job's taking longer than they anticipated? What should they do?
Just go ahead and give us a call. Let us know that you're going to keep the equipment a little bit longer, and we'll schedule it out for you to keep.
Okay. And talk to us about what you want them to know about how easy it is to rent this equipment. Kind of give us a scenario.
All you got to do is come in with your photo ID, and you tell us what you're doing, and we'll set you up with the equipment that best fits your project. We'll run you down in the pit if you don't know how to use it. We'll walk you through every little function to make your job that much easier, and then we'll get you buckled up and get you out of here.
All right, so now run me down to the pit. Now, you've got a great big kind of a gardening pit out behind your store, and you're going to teach me how to run it, right? How long does it take the average person to get fairly adept at running the equipment?
It's typically about 10 minutes. You get a good feel for it. There isn't nothing that you can run into or you can break down there. You just pick up a bunch of dirt or move it, and it takes about 10 minutes.
Have you ever, and I asked you this one other time, I remember, but have you ever had any experiences where it was a run for your life?
No, not with any equipment. The last time I had that experience is when my wife hopped on her ATV by herself for the first time. That's the last time I had that experience.
How many years have you been married, Juan?
We are going on our 6th year.
And it may be the last year if you keep talking about your wife. I know you're a football coach, but she might use you as a tackling dummy.
Yeah, she might. She might be a little bit upset.
Well, now tell us the wide range of different equipment that you have there at Berry Equipment and Rental. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we specialize in Bobcat Doosan equipment, big full-size loaders, big mini excavators, but, we also take care of the weekend warrior, the homeowner. So we have these small walk-behind trenchers, right on, tractors, right on trenchers, air compressors. Whatever you need to get your job done on the weekend, we'll take care of you.
Okay, now, the hours that you're open at all the locations and specifically yours there in Burley.
So the Twin Falls store is open 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday and 8 to 5 on Saturdays. And over here, in Nampa and in Burley, we're open from 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday.
Boy, that makes for you to get out of bed pretty early in the morning and kind of get spruced up and ready to go.
Oh, yeah, and a little bit more earlier because I have animals to feed in the morning, so.
Oh, my. And are you going to coach football again this next year?
You know what? I'm going to stick around with it. I am.
Well, good. What's the program look like for next year? I'll just put you on the spot real quick.
You know, we're looking pretty good. We have 22 kids that are returning that played on varsity last year. You know, we just gotta just take it one game at a time.
Okay.
Gotta watch out for that quarterback over there in Kimberly.
Yeah, I know that young man. I seem to think his name is Dawson Cummins, and he's related to me as my grandson.
Yep. So they're going to have a good squad, but we're looking pretty good.
No, I tell you what, Juan, you got a great personality. Anything else about our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental? I mean, you really, equipment rentals and retail equipment sales, if they want to come in and put cash on the barrelhead, you can put them out of there with a purchase, can't you?
Absolutely. We'll take care of you.
All right. Juan, I want to say thank you very much at Berry Equipment and Rental. They're located at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, and then Eli at 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. God bless you, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Have a good one.
All right. Take care. That is a nice young man. Juan over at Berry Equipment and Rental. Really a super guy. We're going to send it over to the station in just a moment. I had another note I got to get on here real quick, and that, of course, is the Lincoln Day Banquet is going to be Saturday, February 24th at the Burley Inn, a change this year, and it's going to be with the meet and greet starting at 12 noon, lunch at 1. They're going to have an auction. All the politicals will be there, and tickets are $25 at the door. So don't forget, that's the Lincoln Day Banquet at the Burley Inn, Saturday, February 24th, and it starts at high noon. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studio. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
And thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half hour for this week, as a matter of fact, as we're wrapping things up. We're going to go to the phone line right now, and I'm very honored to have this lady on my program. She always does a great job. She writes for the Stream, and we say good morning to Liberty McCarter. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. Thanks for having me back.
You know, Liberty, I'm really starting to get depressed about a lack of respect for life in this country, whether it's the lack of respect for the unborn or whether it's a lack of respect for those that are elderly with kind of a hemlock situation, or a lack of respect for those like what we saw yesterday, lack of respect for life at the school systems across America. What's going on here?
Well, it is very troubling, and I think that you really said it already. It's just a lack of respect for life. I think people are losing sight of what it means to value life as a gift from God, and losing sight of what it means to value people as image bearers of God. And so when you lose sight of that, it makes it a lot easier to just discard people that are inconvenient to you. And so that's kind of what we're dealing with. And once again, we're dealing with it regarding abortion and Democrats and how married they are to the idea that a woman should be able to abort her child basically up until birth.
Now, explain that. You wrote a very, very good article with the headline, Will Democrats Welcome Pro-Life Candidates? DNC Chairman Won't Say. Give us a little background, a thumbnail sketch of this article.
Well, a few days ago over the weekend, DNC Chairman Tom Perez was interviewed on MSNBC. And right now in Illinois, there is a primary race going on between Representative Dan Lipinski, he's a Democrat who happens to be pro-life, and then another woman who is running against him in the primary who is pro-choice. So they were talking about that debate, and the host asked Tom Perez, is there any room for anti-abortion Democrats? And he waffled on the answer. He wouldn't say. He was kind of like, oh, we don't want to get involved in, primary races. We don't want to look like we're tipping the scale. But I think the reason he wouldn't just come out and say yes or no is because he's actually taken kind of both sides of this issue in the past. Just last year, And when he tried to suggest that the Democratic Party would welcome pro-life Democrats, he really got hung out to dry by big abortion organizations like Planned Parenthood, et cetera, who are very closely linked financially with the Democratic Party. So I think a lot of it comes down to, even though a lot of Democrats consider themselves to be pro-life or support significant restrictions on abortions, the Democratic Party and Democratic leadership will not concede any ground to pro-life Democrats. And I think it's because they're afraid of upsetting, big name pro-abortion donors.
I'm just sitting here taking all this in, and I got to tell you something, Liberty. I'm becoming more and more jaded against people and politics and happenings around our world because of the idiocy of not respecting life and mankind. How could any party, and this is the Democrats we're talking about, what is their format? Show me something that's wholesome and viable and family-friendly. Go ahead. Tell me what they stand for. I really don't know.
Well, they talk about how they want to help minorities, they want to help the poor, they want to help immigrants, and all this kind of stuff. But then when it comes down to helping the most vulnerable, unborn in the womb, they are very extreme. And some Democratic leaders have paid lip service to oh, sure, if you're a pro-life Democrat, we'll welcome you, but you have to look at their votes. Recently we had the big Pain Capable Act in the Senate, and then the Born Alive Infant Protection Act in the House. So those were two very basic pro-life measures. One would ban abortion after 20 weeks, which is when unborn babies can start to feel pain, which 63% of Americans support, by the way. And the other would just say, if a baby is born alive after a botched abortion, doctors have to give that baby medical care. So really basic stuff. And in both measures, in both the House and the Senate, Democrats, by and large, rejected those common sense measures that most Americans support. Only 3 Democrats voted for the Pain Capable Act in the Senate, and only 5 Democrats voted for the Born Alive Protection Act in the House. And so that just shows you how extreme they are, despite their rhetoric of, being pro-family or whatever. They can't even vote for the most basic, baseline protections for babies in the womb.
I just don't know how to say anything on this program except to be blunt and honest. Abortion is murder. It's murdering a human being. I get so sick and tired of the semantics of saying, well, they don't feel pain until this age. Or, well, yeah, but the mother, she didn't want to have the child, so it was better to abort it. Wait a minute. Since when does abortion become birth control? I am so fed up with this situation as an old grandpa. I'm ready to stand up on a pedestal and condemn any Democrats that would advocate what they're doing.
Well, and I think a lot of Americans are actually coming around to see eye to eye with people like you, because we have seen a significant increase in scientific advances. More and more people are getting ultrasound. Some studies show that 80% of women who are abortion-minded, after they see an ultrasound, they change their mind, because from just starting at just a few weeks, you can immediately see that little heartbeat on the ultrasound. And I think once people see that, they realize this is a separate life. This isn't just a parasite or a blob of tissue inside of a woman's body. This is a completely new person who has its own set of DNA from the moment of conception. And I think Democrats, if they are wise, they will wake up to the fact that a lot of Democrats, a lot of non-Christians, a lot of millennials, people who are not traditionally pro-life, are actually coming around and starting to be pro-life, because you just can't deny, like you said, that is a baby in there, and it is murder to end that life. And I think more and more people are realizing that.
Look at our society, though, Liberty. And Wheels over at the station again. I've got that feedback problem. Please. Yesterday, it just made me sit down, and I'm not ashamed to admit it at all. It brought tears to my eyes. With these kids in a school, they're just enjoying their school day and all the activities and everything. It was Valentine's Day. There were a lot of balloons and everything. And this absolute evil vermin gunman walked in and took their lives. Well, really, is he any different than somebody with Planned Parenthood killing babies? I mean, our society is kill, 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 and I've had enough of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, yesterday was absolutely devastating, and I think, everybody's trying to look for answers on why something like that would happen, but people like you and me, who we know that America has fallen a long way morally, we can look and say, okay, while abortion and mass shootings might seem like different issues, it's all interconnected to a big problem in our society. People turning away from faith, they're turning away from value of human life, and not being there for each other. People are more isolated than ever before. People are more self-centered than ever before. So I think a lot of the problems we see in our society, whether it's murder on the street or murder in the womb, they can be connected to just the sickness, this moral sickness in our nation.
Liberty, when you study like Tom Perez, and this guy reminds me of a used car salesman wearing white shoes and a white belt and raising the sleeve of his arm saying, hey, you want to buy a wristwatch? This guy just absolutely looks so repulsive. Why can't they find people decent within their parties to represent family values? Why does it have to be from one extreme to the other? One party partisan for this, the other party partisan for this. It should all be that we're human beings living on the same planet and have a respect for life, for Pete's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of Americans, or I would say a lot of the politicians in Washington, D.C. do not reflect the average American, whether it's the average Democrat or the average Republican. And I think, it is extreme, and I don't know, this is just my conjecture. I think I said it earlier. I think a lot of it comes down to donors and who's footing the bill. And for Democrats, again, they're very closely linked with organizations like Planned Parenthood. And so they have their talking points, they have their agenda, and they ignore the fact that even 6 in 10 people who consider themselves pro-choice still want restrictions on abortions. A large number of Democrats want restrictions on abortions, and 63% of Americans support banning abortion after 20 weeks. Now, again, all abortion is wrong, but those numbers reveal that most people in America, most voting Democrats, are not as extreme on issues of abortion, and I think a lot of issues as, their representatives in Congress. And so you kind of have to say, what's going on in Washington, D.C.? We've talked about draining the swamp, but are our representatives actually representing us? Are they actually representing what people want and what the American people's values are? And I don't think they are.
Well, you just touched on the whole problem. I do not understand how an aisle in the chambers of Congress can separate right and left or Democrat and Republican when almost all of the people that are sitting on each side of the aisle are family members, their grandpas, their grandmas, their dads, and their mothers. What about a value system for life? How can they play partisan politics over lives?
I mean, it's really changed very quickly. We just went from just a few decades ago, even that, when a lot of Democrats were saying they wanted abortion to be safe, legal, and rare, and their justification was that, well, women are going to get illegal abortions that are life-threatening anyway, so we might as well make it legal, but we still want it to be rare. And while abortion is still wrong, that was, at least they were trying to come across as less extreme, like they still didn't really support abortion, to now they're promoting abortion as a social good. And so it's really, shocking to just see how far we've come, because something, like protecting unborn babies in the womb and recognizing, especially with the science we have nowadays, to see that that is a human life, an individual life. It's just shocking that Democrats are still so extreme on this issue. And I really think that, in light of their recent votes of not supporting basic measures that most Americans support, I really think that's going to harm them in the long run. And, hey, that might be a good thing. But I think Democrats are falling behind what the American public is realizing when it comes to abortion.
I will say this, and I find it this repulsive, that today in our society, with a lack of respect for life and a lack of respect for whether it's at the beginning with abortions or our seniors, like I mentioned earlier with the Hemlock Society, it just seems like there's no value for people living anymore. There's no value in that unborn. And if a mother gets pregnant in Chicago in the slums, oh, well, I'll just go have an abortion so I can go to a party on Friday night. It turns into a birth control device. This is so repugnant to me, I can't stand it.
Yeah, it definitely has turned into just another form of birth control, and I think if we can pass measures like the 20-week ban or the Born Alive Protection Act, those will help, but ultimately what we need is a change in our culture and philosophy of how we think about it, because if you really, the only thing different from an unborn baby in the womb to an infant outside the womb, both are dependent upon the mother. Both, can't take care of themselves. It's just one has been born and one hasn't. And doctors are able to care for babies at earlier and earlier ages when they're born prematurely. So if you justify killing a baby inside the womb, then it's really just a slippery slope until you justify infanticide, euthanasia for the elderly or the mentally ill. And that's where we are. And I think people really need to see that. Yes, we need to support common sense measures that will get us closer to our goal, but ultimately people need to realize that this is all just one big excuse to kill off the people that we don't like or that are inconvenient for us. And that sounds really harsh, but that's the truth. And so if you're okay with killing a baby in the womb, then where does it stop?
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, and you're a very good writer. I like your articles. But if you had a chance to interview right up front and personal, pardon me, somebody like Nancy Pelosi or Dick Durbin or Tom Perez with the Democratic Party, what would you say if you had a chance to look them right in the eye and back them down? What would you say?
Well, I might start by asking them if they recognize, just looking at statistics, that the majority of Americans, including a lot of people in their own party, support basic pro-life measures or actually identify as pro-life, and if that matters to them at all. And then I might talk to them about, the scientific advancements that we've seen and how, doctors, not necessarily Christian pro-life doctors, but they're admitting that this is an individual being from the moment of conception in the womb, and how do you justify killing that? And why do you think abortion is a social good? And then I might also say, why are you fighting so hard to keep facilities like Planned Parenthood open when you look at their statistics and you know that the majority of what they do is abortion, and that there are multiple other facilities around the nation that actually provide whole care and real medical care to women who need it. And I would see if they could actually answer any of those questions or if they would just brush them off. And I have a feeling they would probably try to get around them, just like Tom Perez did on Sunday.
And that's the thing. If I were interviewing Tom Perez, first off, I got to be very honest and open. I don't like the man. Secondarily, I would not let him brush it off. I would keep coming back and saying, wait a minute, Mr. Perez, you didn't answer the question I wanted addressed now. There comes a time when you have to be non-polite in an interview and demand answers. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I think that you can always, to keep the moral high ground, so to speak, but yes, demand answers. And, I think we're seeing more Democrats being asked this question because it's been in a lot of, left-leaning media outlets, The Atlantic, The Washington Post, noting how more and more people are pro-life. And so on MSNBC, again, you had a reporter saying basically, hey, are pro-life Democrats welcome in your party? But she just kind of let him skirt around it. She didn't really push him. And then it was on to the next question. So these questions are starting to be brought up, but, like you said, Democrats aren't really being held to account to actually have to answer those questions, and they should be.
Liberty McCarter, you are always welcome on this program. Great writer for the Stream. Thank you so much, and please know that when I see that you're available for another interview, I'm going to call. Thank you so much.
Sounds great.
All right, take care. Very, very well done article, and it was entitled, if you want to go to the Stream, you can look it up, Liberty McCarter, Will Democrats Welcome Pro-Life Candidates? DNC Chairman Tom Perez won't say. Oh, my. We've got to get a weather forecast on here right now, and then I'll take some more of your calls at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Hello, Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew. I know this man. I know his operation, and oh, boy, do they have delicious meats over there at Scarrow's for you. Whether it's the buckboard bacon or whether it's the breakfast sausage or the bratwurst. You know my weakness for bratwurst. Oh, and a nice soft bun with relish. Oh, my. And all the prime ribs and the smoked hams. Everything is great at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Right now, they bring us the weather. Here's Gina.
Looks like some windy conditions for your Thursday. Here's your weather forecast. For Zeb at the Ranch, mostly cloudy skies, then gradually becoming sunny as we move towards the afternoon. Breezy as well with the west wind, right around 20 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 35 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 35 for today. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 27. Tomorrow, partly sunny. Wind's going to be dying down. High of 42. Friday night, partly cloudy skies with a high of 32 for Saturday. Partly sunny and 51. And Sunday, maybe some precipitation, about a 30% chance of snow showers in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the low 40s. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina always does a phenomenal job of doing our weather, and I give her a lot of kudos. Thank you very much. And the weather brought to you by Scarrow's Meats. Wonderful, wonderful people at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Yep, Scarrow's Meats, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Oh, I got time for a couple of calls. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There may be people that are upset because of the tone and nature of this program this morning. I don't care. Something has got to be done. Something has got to change our society. Something has got to change what's happening with evil in our society. Something has got to be done to address evil, slap it down, and bury it. What happened yesterday cannot happen again. It can't happen again. Any form or source of power to stop this from happening again needs to be done and realized. I don't want to see the look on those parents' faces again when they realize that their child, their son or daughter, is not going to ever come home again after school. I don't want to see the look on the parents' faces when they were walking into the hospital to check on their wounded son or daughter that was just ripped apart by bullets. I want to see this stopped. And whatever security measures are needed or methods are needed, let's get it done. And stop the silly arbitration about, oh, well, we can't do that because of this. We can't move over there because of that. Well, we might hurt somebody's feelings if we did this. I don't care. I don't want to see another school shooting. I don't want to see the heartbreak that is happening in this country again. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and it's the Founders Celebration right now in honor of Mr. Les Schwab. What a great man he was. And again, I'll say, I had a great opportunity to meet that man years ago, and he has put together a business now that has more than 475 locations all through the West. What a phenomenal job. And they do the right thing because it matters. They've had a great buy on their tires, and they, of course, have the best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians. And, of course, don't forget the best of front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more. But above all, the best in service. Wonderful people serving you. Lane over in Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'm going to do something right now that some people may be offended at. So be it. And I'm going to wrap up the program, and I'm going to say that we will be back Monday at 8:06. for more of Zeb at the Ranch all through the course of next week, Monday through Thursday. But I'm going to end this program this morning with a prayer. And I mean this. Dear Lord, I pray that you will comfort the families of the children that were shot and killed, and those that were wounded yesterday in Florida. Somehow, please help us to find the answers to stop this from happening again. Help us to stop evil in our society. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for listening. We'll be back Monday at 8:06.